Dean Tappenden, thank you so much for joining us for 25 questions. First off, how is Utah treating you?
Utah is absolutely fabulous. The community is so engaging and welcoming. That's been wonderful. And the scenery is absolutely beautiful. We've been hiking, skiing, doing all sorts of things outdoors and really, really enjoying living here.
What is an unexpected similarity between Salt Lake City and Chicago, where you came from?
That's a good question because so many people talk about the differences and how it must be so different living here. But the community and the pride for the community that I find here in Salt Lake City as well as in Chicago is really quite overwhelming. That brings just this great sense of spirit to the people we're meeting, and the academic institutions are second to none, right? So we feel very much at home.
Good. All right, this is very timely given the season. So far, what is your favorite ski resort?
Okay, I'm going to surprise you and let you know it's not in Utah. I'm still searching for my favorite ski resort in Utah because I've only been able to go to some, but I grew up in Alberta, Canada, and my favorite has always been Lake Louise, the ski resort just close to Banff, where most people have heard of, but Lake Louise Mountain Resort is this very big mountain with lots of diverse terrain, and that's home for me, so that's my favorite.
Okay, same resort then. What was your favorite ski run at that resort?
Well, see, that's the beauty of Lake Louise is there's such diverse terrain. So if I'm with kids or some newbies, I'll go on Wixie, which is this easy green but very long run. It takes about half an hour. So, you can't, it's not like a little bunny hill that you're just going up and down on. And then if I'm with more intermediate, if you go off to the side of the resort, there's a great intermediate area called Meadowlark. And because it's off on the edge of the resort, there's very few people there. So there's always great snow and it's not congested and tons of fun, beautiful scenery.
Sounds like you've had some wonderful experiences skiing.
It's a skier's dream. Some of my best days are there.
What's something in the office that makes you smile every time you see it?
It's this view. Really, when I walk in this office, my heart stops almost every time because this view is amazing. And when I think of it from the College of Health perspective, well, we've got main campus versus the health campus and the variety of students that we teach. We've got West Valley versus the South versus the East Bench and the different health aspects that are present in each of those areas are such a great opportunity for us to serve people. And then we've got the lake here, which is a beautiful reminder of how we need to steward our environment and impact both us and those that follow us. The view is absolutely amazing here and reminds me of the opportunity and responsibilities that we have every day.
All right, switching gears a little bit. What's one book that everyone should read?
The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Slott. This is a fascinating book about some really important scientific discoveries that were done in the mid-20th century at Johns Hopkins University, but how the scientific opportunities and then the personal experiences of those involved with that are hugely impacted. We can see where we can make great gains like this experience did for the scientists, but at the cost of some families and big societal implications. And it's something I always advise my graduate students to read. For women, it's very, very important. But I think as scientists, with just the justice that goes along with what we're doing, we try and make scientific advances for the community, but we have to remember the community with which we're making these advances and make sure that that's done in a kind and responsible way.
What do you never leave the house without?
My cell phone. I think like most people, right, there's just a practical aspect of that. But phones nowadays, it's awesome. It keeps me going where I need to go. If I have ideas, I can jot them down with voice memos to myself. It keeps me productive if I'm stuck in some kind of line somewhere. Phones are great.
Okay, we have to ask, Where do you get your amazing blazers? Because you are known for your fabulous blazers.
Thank you. That's great. I am always on the lookout for a good blazer. So, there's the obvious places and shopping stores, but I think local boutiques are where you can find some really interesting things. Occasionally, I get some things online, but local boutiques and small businesses, that's the way to go.
What's your favorite thing to watch on TV right now? What are you binging?
Utah Hockey Club. We go to the games when they're in town, and when they are out of town, we have this little app where we can watch them wherever they are. It's lots of fun. So it will be Utah Hockey Club for us through about June, hopefully, if they make it to the playoffs.
Well, if your favorite ski resort is not yet Utah, we will take that your hockey team is Utah.
I'm not going to say that my favorite hockey team is Utah. I did grow up in Edmonton, so the Oilers are my favorite team, but I'm very invested in Utah Hockey Club.
Close enough. Yeah. We'll take that too. What do you do to unwind at the end of a busy day?
For me, it's all about family. I love spending time at the end of a busy day with my husband, just some quiet time discussing what we did, what our challenges were, highs and lows, with my kids too. Actually, highs and lows is always something we do at the dinner table. And with my dog, whether that's, taking him on a walk or whatever it is, it really is a nice opportunity to just slow down, remind me of all the things I'm grateful for, and get ready for the next day.
It's a great way to end a day. Can you play any instruments? Many scientists have a musical background.
The first part of my life was highly influenced by music. I started off on the piano when I was 5. I played the guitar, the percussion. I was in the percussion group, but my favorite is the alto saxophone. So I wish I did more of that right now. Those instruments are in my house, not used too often, and I should get back to that.
That's incredible. What do you eat, or I guess what would you eat every day if you could? I know that your background, obviously,
Okay, so yeah, I'm a nutritionist, so you're going to have to forgive this answer because it would be very bad every day. But my British upbringing would have me eating roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, and freshly grated, unadulterated horseradish. Absolutely love it.
Isn't there always moderation, they say?
Yeah,
good
absolutely. That's right. But I'm not certain I can say that every day we should be having some nice cut of nice red meat.
Well, that actually leads to my next question, which is, have you had a Utah pastrami burger or fry sauce? Since we're on the topic of healthy eating.
Not nutrition. I've just learned about these pastrami burgers. It has a burger, like a beef burger and pastrami, is that correct? It sounds delicious, but I have not tried it. Where does one get one of these?
Ooh, I would go, any place like Apollo Burger, any places like those. Most, or Hires, I think, has one just down the street.
Okay, so I'm eager to try a pastrami burger. Fry sauce creeps me out.
Why? Is it the
mayonnaise?
The mayonnaise.
Like I'm not going to be anti-mayonnaise. I think mayonnaise is good in appropriate limited proportions. But what's wrong with ketchup? I don't know. No thanks.
What's your favorite place where you've traveled?
Yeah, I've been so fortunate to travel so many places around the world. And my favorite is a trip I took to South Africa and went on a safari in the savannah to see that landscape, but more importantly, the animals and how they interact with each other, and not to sound corny, but the true circle of life, and how they interact and feed and support each other, along with the African culture, was really remarkable.
Sounds like a bucket list for many people, I'm sure, to have that experience. You do travel a lot. So what's a must-have item for flying?
This is a practical thing, but noise-canceling headphones I actually find to be really important to help me get where I need to go and get off the plane fresh and able to, to go on business, which is what I'm usually there for. It really does help with all the noise and commotion that's going on, and let one feel rested and relaxed getting there.
It's one of my favorite technology advancements.
Yeah,
Is that
it's a good advancement over the past decade or so.
have an airplane trip a little bit quieter. What's your best tip for being successful in school? So when you were at university, what did you find most helpful?
To be successful at school, I think there's all the regular things, time management, prioritization. Those are all really critical to figure out what you need to get done and accomplish that. But where I really see a lot of students missing out is the fact that they aren't taking advantage of the resources that are available to them. And by that, I mean faculty and advisors and the clubs. Really, I think it's important for students to lean in and get the most out of that experience. All of us, every faculty member who's here, is invested in the success that students have. And so for them to be too shy or nervous to take the value of that interaction is really a shame. In fact, there was a study done at the University of Utah last year that shows that the number one barrier to success is lack of engagement in academic advising. So, based on that, the number one thing that students should do is engage with their academic advisor. That's really going to unleash the rest of the campus and the possibilities for them. So I really think leaning in and not being afraid to say hi and get to know people is a problem. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, we have great advisors and faculty, so
Absolutely.
my experience, I'm sure yours, is that they're more than happy to take the time for students.
When I look back, though, as a student, I didn't want to bother them. I would always enter on office hours where I needed help with an apology, right? But that's why we're here. This is why we chose to do what we want to do. We want to see you and help you.
What's a campus resource that you think every student should know about? You mentioned academic advising. Are there other resources that you would point students to that they absolutely need to be engaged with?
I think every student at the University of Utah and other institutions should be aware of the counseling centers. Because mental health is such a big concern, particularly in the post-pandemic environment. We know that these issues are here, and some people are really aware that that's going to be helpful for them. Others, it catches them by surprise. And if they don't know about those resources that are there, then they can be without help that's really important. So I would want to make sure that beyond academic advisors who will help you get to the counseling center, that the counseling center is something that students don't feel inhibited to take advantage of. We also have that there because we know and have had those needs too. And we want to make sure that as people go through life, that they get the support that they need.
Absolutely, and mental health is so important. If you need a brain break or a student needs just a moment of quiet or to get outside on campus, what's your favorite spot on campus?
This trail right behind us here in Red Butte, the living room hike, all of those kinds of things. Like that's just right here in our immediate proximity. But we are surrounded by the beauty of nature, and we know that that's really important for human health. So I would suggest that people do what is important for them for outdoor recreation, but unplugging. Take a friend. If a friend is helpful for you, go by yourself if that's what was helpful for you, or with your pet. If that's what's good. But really take that time to just unplug and center yourself in the beauty of nature.
How do you stay calm speaking in front of large crowds? I'm sure students are going through their work and have to give a class presentation. That's always the question. And you give many presentations to very large crowds. So what's your advice?
How do I stay calm? I don't, Anna. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've given over 600 talks, and I get so nervous every single time. I think what helps, though, is knowing, okay, this is just nervousness. I don't need to run out of the building and go hide. I can do this. So facing it is good. Also, taking that anxiety and turning it into excitement. Anxiety and excitement feel very similar, right? And if I can just slant that, I can take what was anxiety, make it into excitement, and use that as enthusiasm for the presentation that I'm giving. So that then takes the message which I can then be excited in and really try and give an impactful presentation.
That's really good advice, and I think also hard to do, I'm sure, sometimes, but it's nice to know
I
you get nervous.
I still want to run sometimes. But I haven't yet.
What are 3 things still left on your bucket list?
I want to ski in Europe. I really think the Alps or something like that would be sensational. I want to, 3 things. I want to go to the Greek islands. And the third one is going back to Africa, in this case, Kenya, the savannah there, and provide nutrition care for children at a health clinic that's there that's named in honor of my mother-in-law. She died before I was able to meet her, but I would love to be able to go to this clinic that bears her name and provide some nutrition care there. That'd be very meaningful.
I hope you invite us along to see the work that's being done
love
there.
that.
That would be great. What's your favorite family tradition?
Sunday night dinners. This was something that started before I can remember, when I was a young child and many generations before me. But I grew up in a very British family, and every Sunday night we would go to my grandparents and have roast beef, Yorkshire puddings with freshly grated, unadulterated horseradish. And I still do that. I made that last night for my family. So those Sunday night dinners are something that I've carried on with my family. I think back to the great relationships I have with my cousins and my uncles, and many of the memories I have are around Sunday night dinners. If I don't do it now, if I don't make a roast, my girls squawk. They like it too.
What do you like most about being dean?
Being dean it's such a privilege to advocate for the wonderful work that's going on and our opportunity to impact health of humans. I really see us working to redefine the human health span, and I feel so fortunate to be an individual who gets to advocate for our faculty and our students, our staff, our alumni. They are all out there doing outstanding things. And so in my role, I get to brag about all the things that they're doing, but more importantly, advocate for the resources that they need to be successful. And that's a really big privilege.
What do you mean when you say redefining the human health span? I think we can see that in all kinds of materials across campus. Just take a moment, if you would, and describe what that means to you.
Of course. So we, as humans, want a nice long lifespan, right? We know that the lower to mid 70s is where we might expect to live based on gender and our various lifestyle choices. And there's a lot of efforts that are underway to expand that lifespan 2 more years. That's fine. But we also know that in midlife, we as humans in this country are developing various chronic diseases, so diabetes, obesity. These types of things are lowering the quality of life. So what health span is the concept where we could stay healthy up until that 75 years of age, and then perhaps, it might end then, but we've been healthy and able to do everything we want and have vibrant, fulfilling lives up to that point that are free of those chronic diseases. If we can extend that healthy period of time past 75 years, wonderful, right? But wouldn't it be also pretty stressful if we expend our lifespan, but in that middle age we start getting chronic diseases, and from the time of 75 to 125, we're sick. We can't do the things we want to do. We feel like we're a burden to our family and our society. And that's not really value-added years, right? What we want to do is be able to extend that period of time where we are healthy and contributing and being able to do all the things that may be on our bucket list. And that's what health span is. So when we say redefine the human health span, that's what we in the College of Health here are doing with the variety of health professions that we have. We're making that quality of life extend as far as possible, and that's what really matters.
And what is the role, what do you see as the role of students in accomplishing that, in redefining the human health span?
The students we train are the future. They're going to be the ones that go out and provide the professional expertise and advice to the communities around us. So they're going to be able to maximize the health span for our communities. But they're also going to be learning from our faculty and developing new knowledge, creating innovative solutions. They're going to be finding the next generation of solutions. And they're also going to be investing back and inspiring the students that we have here and helping them go on to improve things that much more. So students truly are our future. They are what we want to send out in the world to really extend the impact that we have.
Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Who would you like most to swap places with for a day?
I want to drive a Zamboni, Anna. But I don't know if I want to do it for a full day.
So you've been here in Utah, what, a year and a half?
Yeah,
at this
18 months.
point. Where do you want to visit next in Utah? What's the next adventure?
Okay, I have been to several national parks. There are two places I want to visit in the next year: Bryce Canyon and Capitol Reef. I've been to the other three national parks in Utah, but I want to do all five in my first 2 years. So I have an agenda to visit those in the next 6 months.
So last question to wrap up. What are you passionate about? What inspires you to come to the office every day and do your work?
I am really passionate about what we here in the College of Health do every day, and that is improve human health. We've lived through a pandemic. We know the impact on our communities that an illness can have. It impacts us in huge ways. It shuts everything down, right? And so when one has a chronic illness that they're living with, it has that impact on their life and their family. We've experienced it in a wide-scale way, but we shouldn't be overlooking the impact that it has on families and fewer individuals at one time, but the impact is huge. The work that we do in the College of Health is so important for changing people's lives, not just the person that may be sick, but that entire community around them. And I think it's a real privilege that we can focus on disciplines and strategies, modifiable factors in people's life that really help them live better lives.
Thank you so much for answering our 25 questions. It's been fun.
My pleasure. Thanks to you.